U.S.-China trade talks high-stakes negotiations in Geneva. The U.S. and China have begun critical trade talks in Geneva, aiming to resolve long-standing economic tensions. Both nations are under pressure to address tariffs, technology restrictions, and market access issues. The U.S. delegation is pushing for fairer trade practices, while China seeks to protect its tech sector. Experts warn that failure to reach an agreement could escalate economic conflicts between the two superpowers. Key topics include semiconductor exports, intellectual property rights, and agricultural trade. The talks come as both economies show signs of strain, raising the stakes for a successful outcome. Global markets are closely watching, as any deal could impact international trade flows. Will these negotiations mark a turning point in U.S.-China relations, or will tensions continue to rise? Breaking: major earthquake shakes Tennessee and Georgia. What we know so far: a powerful earthquake has just struck parts of Tennessee and Georgia, sending shockwaves across the region. Let's break down what happened. The quake, measuring 5.8 on the Richter scale, hit early this morning. Reports are still coming in about the extent of the damage. Emergency services are on high alert as aftershocks continue to rattle the area. Here's what local authorities are saying about the situation. We're seeing images of significant structural damage in several towns, particularly near the epicenter. Some roads have been rendered impassable. Residents are sharing terrifying accounts of the moment the quake hit. Many describe being woken by violent shaking that lasted nearly 30 seconds. This is particularly unusual for the region, which isn't known for major seismic activity. Experts are analyzing why this occurred. Power outages are affecting thousands, and some cell towers are down, making communication difficult in affected areas. Schools and businesses have been closed as officials assess building safety. Here's what you need to know if you're in the affected zone. The Red Cross and other organizations are mobilizing relief efforts. We'll show you how you can help those impacted. Stay tuned as we continue to update this developing story. Don't forget to subscribe for the latest on this earthquake and other breaking news. India-Pakistan water crisis. Why the treaty suspension threatens peace. Despite a ceasefire, tensions between India and Pakistan remain high, this time over water. The Indus Water Treaty is still suspended, and the stakes are rising. The Indus Water Treaty, signed in 1960, was meant to prevent conflicts over water. But now, it's hanging by a thread. Sources say negotiations have stalled, with both sides refusing to back down. Water scarcity is making the situation worse. India controls the upstream flow of the Indus. Pakistan fears its agriculture could collapse if water is restricted further. Meanwhile, India claims Pakistan isn't using water efficiently. They argue better management could solve the crisis. The suspension of the treaty could escalate tensions beyond water, threatening the fragile ceasefire along the border. Experts warn that climate change is worsening the problem. Melting glaciers and erratic rains add pressure to an already volatile situation. International mediators are urging both nations to return to talks. But will diplomacy prevail before it's too late? For now, millions depend on the Indus River. The future of water and peace hangs in the balance. Judge blocks Trump's mass layoffs. What this means for federal workers. A federal judge has just halted Trump's controversial plan to lay off thousands of federal workers. Let's break down what happened. The order comes after Trump announced sweeping layoffs across multiple federal agencies, sparking immediate backlash. The judge ruled the layoffs could cause irreparable harm to workers and their families, granting a temporary freeze. This isn't the first legal challenge to Trump's policies, but it's one of the most significant for federal employees. The layoffs targeted agencies like the EPA and Education Department, raising concerns about government functionality. Unions representing federal workers cheered the decision, calling it a victory for labor rights. Legal experts say this could set a precedent for challenging future executive workforce decisions. The Trump administration has already announced plans to appeal the judge's decision. This legal battle could drag on for months, leaving thousands of workers in limbo. We'll continue tracking this developing story. Hit subscribe for updates on this and other breaking political news. Ukraine ceasefire push. Will 30 days of peace begin Monday? Breaking news. Ukraine's allies are pushing for a 30-day ceasefire starting this Monday. Could this be the first step toward lasting peace? According to NPR reports, diplomatic efforts have intensified this week to halt the fighting temporarily. The proposed ceasefire would allow humanitarian aid to reach affected areas and give civilians a much-needed respite. But key questions remain. Will both sides agree to the terms? And can the ceasefire hold for the full 30 days? Western allies see this as a crucial opportunity to restart peace negotiations that stalled months ago. Meanwhile, Ukrainian forces remain on high alert, preparing for any scenario as the deadline approaches. The proposed ceasefire comes as winter approaches, when fighting conditions traditionally become more difficult. International observers would monitor the ceasefire, but their safety remains a major concern. Civilians in conflict zones are cautiously hopeful, but many remember broken ceasefires from the past. As the world watches, this weekend's negotiations could determine whether the guns fall silent on Monday. What do you think? Will this ceasefire hold? Share your thoughts in the comments below. White House in legal limbo. Will the courts do the right thing? The White House is in a tense standoff with the courts. But what's at stake? Let's break it down. A recent statement from the administration said, "It depends on whether the courts do the right thing." But what does that mean? This comes after a controversial ruling that could impact key policies. The White House is pushing back hard. Legal experts are divided. Some say the courts are overstepping, while others argue the administration is defying the rule of law. The stakes are high. This could set a precedent for future battles between the executive and judicial branches. Critics accuse the White House of undermining trust in the courts. Supporters say they're fighting for justice. The administration's next move is unclear. Will they comply, or will this escalate further? One thing's certain. This showdown could redefine the balance of power in Washington. The courts now hold the cards. Their decision could change everything. What do YOU think? Should the courts do the right thing, or is the White House out of line? Comment below! The surprising election of Pope Leo XIV. Inside the Conclave's decision. The Vatican Conclave has spoken, and the world welcomes Pope Leo XIV. But who is Robert Prevost, and why was he chosen? Robert Prevost, a relatively unknown figure outside the church, was a surprising pick. Let's dive into his background. Born in Chicago, Prevost spent decades as a missionary in Latin America. His grassroots experience set him apart. As Archbishop of Chicago, he gained a reputation as a bridge builder between conservatives and progressives. The conclave lasted just 3 days, unusually short. Insiders say Prevost emerged as a compromise candidate. With the church facing declining membership, many wanted a pope who could connect with everyday Catholics. Prevost's fluency in 6 languages and missionary experience made him uniquely qualified for today's global church. The name Leo XIV signals continuity with past popes, known for intellectual leadership and reform. At 68, Prevost brings energy to the papacy while maintaining traditional values, a careful balance. His first speech emphasized unity and service, hinting at his priorities for the church. The choice of Prevost shows the College of Cardinals wanted change, but gradual, thoughtful change. As the first American-born pope, Leo XIV faces high expectations from all sides. Only time will tell if this unexpected choice can unite the Catholic world in the 21st century.